Welcome back to the podcast. And it is always such an interesting time. This time of year is so reflective for people, right? No matter what feels like a new year or a fresh start for you, some people it's the Chinese calendar, some people it's springtime, it varies. But no matter what, collectively, this time and space gives us a little bit of a mental reset, a mental refresh. And in this episode, I want to help clarify purpose and what is purpose, what I've learned from spirit, what I've learned from my own journey, what I've learned from my client's journey. My intention is that you actually feel a lightness and a joy and a little bit more of a spark within yourself versus if you are feeling like you're still trying to find your purpose, or maybe something in life is weighing you down a little bit, a relationship, a job, that kind of thing. How do we actually bring that into balance right now and help you understand and get clarity like you are on track? And also, some people are living their purpose and it's not quite turning out the way that they thought it would. This is important too. One of the things we want to do is kind of strip away what we think success is, because success is not actually what we think it is. It's one of our biggest drivers. It helps us initiate goals. Yet at the end of the day, the deepest success and fulfillment you will always, always feel in your heart will be in moments. People have multiple purposes in life. So you can have a purpose to be a professional figure skater. That was my dream as a kid. That was that did not last very long. And then as my life developed, I actually got to this point where I was in tech and I knew I was so unhappy. I was so unhappy. And this role had ended for me. We had this VP who would go through and he would fire a different district manager every month. And I was one of the top performers, and I had a gut feeling that I needed to quit. And I was like, I can't quit. These are my people, these are the golden handcuffs. And my time came around and it was devastating. But who I became from that time, I wouldn't change it for the world. And what I ended up doing at that time, after crying really hard, I was embarrassed. I was embarrassed because I hadn't done anything wrong. I definitely wasn't placating him as well as I should have, that's for sure. But I remember just feeling so embarrassed and I held my head so high. And because I was a performer, they still wanted to keep me on. So they put me in this like enterprise role, right? And I remember all of a sudden I had my life back. They expected us to work every single day of the week, Sunday to Sunday, and we were always on. And it was always this competition of like who could reply, fastest to our regional director and all this other weird stuff. So all of a sudden I was working, 80 hours a week or being on 80 hours a week or more than that. And then all of a sudden I was working 20 hours a week. And I was like, who am I? Who am I right now? And so I remember I made a list, and I made a list of all these things that I'd always wanted to do in my life. And some of these things were pretty big dreams I had had since I was a kid. I thought, oh, is this the route I want to go? Is this the route I want to go? And I started trying these things out. I had never seen a lighthouse, so I made a day trip to go see a lighthouse. I always wanted to take acting classes, and I actually got picked up off the street for a Powerade commercial, believe it or not. And my part got cut, but I got to be a part of this huge production for Coca-Cola. I got paid for it. I actually did a really small remodel at my house from it, and that was a time and an experience. I actually brought my mom with me, and she we were grabbing a bite to eat after, and she goes, no one would believe the experience that you just had, because I had a handler. I was the talent, like the main. There was two of us. They were the primary talent, which is so funny, right? Because anyway, there's so much more to that story. And it taught me a lot about that industry in a very brief amount of time, and just how messed up it is. It's such a messed up industry. And I wasn't even, a major part of it. So anyway, all that to be said, I started doing all of these things, and these really cool things started happening in my life. And I was like, I don't like acting, but I love improv. And that taught me something about myself. And it also scratch this deep itch to get off of that track in my life. Like, you know what? That no longer suits me. And I did many things like that. I did horseback riding. I loved horseback riding. I did that for a year. All these, and little things, big things. And all of those elements taught me and helped guide me. It taught me, wow, this is what it feels like when I'm really lit up about something, or I can really learn a lot and have gain a lot of perspective from different experiences in life, and they don't have to be my purpose. And it's really important that we understand we are our own purpose, our own life, and our experience is the purpose. It's not what we're told. It's not, oh, get a degree and get a Nobel Peace Prize for solving, you know, for the C word. It's not that. Now, some people that is part of their purpose that they're feeling called towards. But instead, we want to remember that you living your life and exploring it and seeing who you are as you explore it, that is your purpose. So now let's tailor this just a little bit more to if you're someone who is following your purpose and your passion around your career. Now, I work with people not just in the spiritual world, but who are using their intuition to guide themselves in business. You look at the top performers in the world, and they will tell you that they have a belief in something greater than them and that they always listen to their gut. They will also tell you, it's actually really interesting, they also have really good values and they do take a lot of action and risk, but it's not the type of action that requires a lot of our, like what we think about as action and effort in our day to day. Okay. So, when you think about your purpose around your own gifts and your life, this is a mistake people make. They think, okay, I love to knit, but how can I make money at knitting? Or I intuit messages really well. So, I'm going to be a professional energy intuitive or a medium, right? And they think this is my purpose. Instead, you are the purpose. You are the person who is really good at these things. And then throughout your life, you listen to your internal compass. How am I feeling called to bring this forward right now? What am I feeling called to do right now? And you follow those things. And maybe you do make a business out of something. Maybe you make a business out of, doing tarot for something or being a business consultant. And you continue to see how you and life navigate with each other. And then you say, oh, you know what? I'm feeling called in this direction. Or, I was talking with this wonderful, wonderful client, and she's been doing energy work for her line of work, amongst other things, for a while. And we were talking about how you you have these like aspects of your work you just feel so called to bring forward, and sometimes none of it sees the light of day. But that is still part of you, the purpose of you, the purpose of your experience and going through that. So we think our purpose needs to be tightened up and put into this beautiful package with this beautiful bow and this title, right? To the world from me. Here you go, package it up perfectly. This is my purpose, and I'm here to tell you of that. You are the gift. Your path is the purpose. What you learn about yourself is the beauty of all of that. That is the gift to the world. Not that you know and have an elevator pitch about who you are and how you give in that way. You are the gift. Be the gift. And exploring that, have fun exploring it. Explore it with reckless abandon. Think about all the cool things you've always wanted to do. Why don't you just do them? Why not? Now, if I want to do something, I just do it. I just do it. And I want us to start to think more in the lines of I am the gift and I am the gift now. And that is my purpose. As you begin exploring your intuitive gifts or you begin sharing your work with people, don't think about how is this going to make me money. Instead, think about how am I feeling called to share this right now? I personally have had communities, I have written booklets, I've done one-on-ones, I've done in-person events. Like I feel into the work that I have experienced myself. And then I'm like, how is it being called to be delivered to people? How is that feeling good right now? And I don't force myself to stick with it forever. I listen to the voice of those containers and those programs and say, I shouldn't say voice, like the hum and the heartbeat of these things. And I'm like, oh, and now it's time to close it out, or now it's time to open it back up. I hope you give yourself the gift of freely exploring exactly who you are and who you want to be today without you feeling as though you have to force it through this into this tiny little present with this perfect package and bow for people. Forget that. Forget that. If you want private support, we can work together. I've got private coaching open now, and it's intuitive coaching. And then we also have the intuitive practitioner training. So this teaches you how to hold energetic space, how to provide expansive energy work, as well as intuitive messages for people. And then it guides you through how to do energetic mediumship. I brought forward the mediumship piece in this one because I was being asked to. It comes forward really naturally for people. And I love teaching energetic mediumship so much. That's just what I call it because I know there's a lot of forms out there. And this one is the one I have found to be so natural with people. And then I teach you how do you put that into your version of a framework for people to consume? How do you know the best practices around beginning and ending? How do you know how to hold boundaries? How do you know how to take care of yourself during a session? Because if you're not taking care of yourself during a session, you can't take care of other people. And then we've got the Intuitive Business Collective. Also, so the Intuitive Business Collective is for established practitioners who want to heal their money story and refine their voice, and that's how they end up growing and expanding their business in the most simple way. Now, at the end of this program, this episode today, I have a really cool flyer I put together for you to help you discover your purpose, to help you get clear on your path and the parts of it that you're being called to share right now. And you can find that in the episode notes below. Thank you so much for being here, for bringing part of your light into this world. It has been so great to connect here. If this episode resonated with you, please be sure to subscribe, leave a review, and share it with someone who you want to have more of these chats with. And as you move throughout your day, remember, your energy is your superpower. As you pay attention to it and trust it, you can watch your entire life begin to transform.